What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. So my last point I'm going to make here on the podcast today is that we are now getting Dark Side of the Ring, Season 6. And they've released the full episodes of what's going to come out for Dark Side of the Ring Season 6. And we're going to go over it, and we're going to talk about how because Prime said to me, and he wasn't feeling it. Me personally, I think some of the episodes are pretty good, but there are some episodes on there that I do think as though that they are not taking their time. Like I want them to why haven't they talked about this yet? And I don't know if they try to dance around it or not. I don't know, but we're going to go over what Season 6 looks like. All right, so for Season 6, we got a good amount of episodes here, so we're going to go over each and every one of them and how I feel about them. So we got the first one says here is Hell in a Cell. It's Mick Foley's Hell in a Cell match. When I saw Hell in a Cell, I was just like, okay. It's kind of like the Brawl for All. It's like okay, I'm watching it because I just want to hear the bullshit, but it's not something I'm really interested in because of, of what it is. And they're talking about the 1998 Hell in a Cell match between Mick Foley and Undertaker. And the reason why I'm not too excited about this is because what else is left to be said? Because they have not talked about. They have talked about this. This is the most talked about Hell in a Cell match to date. And I'm like, is there any other ones we could really talk about? And it's like, or the concept of the match, or some of the worst ones, or what the backstories behind some of these things. But we heard this ad nauseating, and it's like, okay, now it's gonna be Dark Side of the Ring. Now maybe Mick Foley's gonna disclose some darker secrets that we didn't know about. Is the Undertaker even going to be on this episode? I don't necessarily know. And I don't think with how Dark Side of the Ring has, portrayed certain people in certain lights, I don't think he'll be on this episode, to be honest with you. So it'll probably just be a Mick Foley thing to talk about. And it's just like, but we know about this most of the way. So I was like, maybe, I don't know how they're going to cover it. What we don't know. Maybe Dark Side Vice TV will give us something that we don't know, but right now we kind of know all about this. So this is not high on my radar. Vader is another episode. I am a huge Vader fan. Vader is in my top 10 wrestlers of all time. I am a huge Vader fan. I was scheduled to meet Vader, and he went out and died on me. Now, I know I'm saying that, lightheartedly and jokingly, but the thing was, he was scheduled to come to a Icons of Wrestling, and I have a Vader Elite figure that I wanted him to sign for me, and I had my Vader shirt and everything. I'm a Vader fan. I used to watch WCW. Vader was my first wrestling match when I got into wrestling. It was 93. I keep saying 92, but it was 93, where it was Vader versus the British Bulldog in WCW. And that's when I really, I used to be scared of Vader, and that's when I really got into Vader. So he is one of my all-time favorites. So I would like to see his story be told also, because I do know he got some crazy things going on with him also. But he didn't get I still feel as though he didn't get the flowers that he deserved here. And that stuff with Shawn Michaels in '96, I want to hear about that as well. And he refusing to drop the title to Vader and stuff like that. Those are different things I want to hear about it. And Vader, we all know he wanted to be in the Hall of Fame. He said, please, can I just be in the Hall of Fame before I die? And they didn't do it for him. And that bothers me. So, I want to see the story about Vader. Then we got Tony Atlas. So, Tony Atlas, I've met Tony Atlas multiple times. Okay. Tony Atlas is a character. That's the best way I can put it. Okay. He's a straight character. Okay, and after seeing how Tony Atlas, talked about Pat Patterson grabbed his pecker on the Vince McMahon documentary. I wonder if we're gonna go deeper into any of that kind of stuff like that, because he was there the night Bruiser Brody was stabbed and stuff like that. So Tony Adams got a lot to say, and it's just a show all for him. I'm just like, well, let's see what Tony Adams is going to be saying. So I'm cool with the Tony Adams thing. So then we got Ludwig Borgia. I don't know too much wrestling wise when it comes to him, but this guy I heard is very problematic, which fits the bill for Dark Side of the Ring. He said, I'm actually reading here on StadiumRant.com where they have a little description of each episode. And this is what they're saying here when they had a little description of this episode. It says, oh boy, where do we begin with Ludwig Borgia? Let's just say the man was racist, domestic abuser, homophobic, drug addict, and very despicable human being. The man had a neo-Nazi tattoo on his ankle, was proud of it. His political career in Finland, too, is very gross and shady. This journalist also writes, I recently did an article on pro wrestlers who became politicians, and I covered some of the disturbing stuff he said and did as a politician. Borgia passed away January 18th, 2010 due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His episode is going to be full of insanity. That fits the bill. Now, like I said, I am not familiar too much of him as as a wrestler. I'm not, but I'm here for the drama. I'm here. So it's like me and my wife sat there, eyes wide open watching Buff Bagwell's episode. So it's like, hey, we love the chaos when it comes to Dark Side. That's what it's called Dark Side of the Ring for anyway, right? So yeah, bring it on. Next up, we have Billy Jack Haynes, who's going to be on there once again. Billy Jack Haynes, I'm not too familiar with Billy Jack Haynes, but reading his little description, the man it was involved in killing his wife just last year, in February 8th of 2024. And he said it was a mercy killing, and he had a 2-hour standoff with the cops. And I'm just like, oh God, we about to, he was really part of like the territory days and stuff like that. So we about to get into really get some stuff. Then we got some hot stuff. Eddie Gilbert that we're going to talk about. So I am familiar with Eddie Gilbert, so that should be an interesting episode. Eddie Gilbert and Missy Hyatt. They're going to have to probably talk about that, and then of course him and the drugs. And as I said, he died in the '90s, so he was young. Do that. So I'm curious to see what they're going to bring up with that. Superstar Billy Graham. I think that's his story has not really been told much, at least to me, because like I said, I know Superstar Billy Graham is, but I don't really know his story like that. So I would love to see that. He just died 2 years ago to sepsis, and he had a rough go in his final days also. But I do know that Hogan modeled a lot off of Superstar Billy Graham. Daphne is actually one of the episodes I am looking forward to the most, because Daphne got handed a bad hand. And I used to watch TNA, like I said, I watch TNA all the time. And Daphne was in there. Daphne for the women, for the knockouts, she was one that took some crazy ass bumps. Even the one where she got chokeslammed off by a bitch through a barbed wire table off the top rope, like she got She took some bumps. She took really took some bumps, and then she had some mental health problems. And the way she went out, because she was she live streamed like reading her suicide note. She live streamed it, hold up, and she told us she wanted her brain to be donated to science for CTE testing, and then she went out and she did kill herself. And it was just, it was insane. It was very, very, very heartbreaking. So I'm curious. I want to see how they cover Daphne, because it's sad that she's not here with us no more. She really got dealt a bad hand by TNA. The original Sheik, Eddie Farhad. So I know about the original Sheik. Sabu looks into the original Sheik and things like that. But I don't know too much about the Sheik though. And then I honestly, I would like to know what his story consists of. Like I said, because Sabu is his nephew, I believe it is. So, and he died in 2003. So at age 76, I believe it was. And then the last one, which I feel as though like, okay, I kind of do want to see this one. That's Muhammad Hassan. I did not think that we was ever going to ever hear anything that's a story about Muhammad Hassan. But if you're going to do a Dark Side of the Ring, Muhammad Hassan will probably be the one that you want to talk about as well. Muhammad Hassan, the best way I can describe it is like, we don't know what he really could have did or what have done, because Muhammad Hassan came in there in 2005. Now, I was very privy to this. When Muhammad Hassan came in there, was it 2005 I think it was? But he was the Arab anti-American. And Vince did not care about putting these kind of characters on television. But it just, when I say strike, well, I was talking about earlier in the podcast, strike when the iron is hot. The timing for this was off. Okay, it was really off because we had just came off of 9/11. And then we had, and that was in 2001. But it wasn't just that, because now it's in 2005 when Muhammad Hassan came. But we came off the London bombings, that they had the terrorist attack in London. And they was planning on pushing Muhammad Hassan. Like they strapped the record to him and really pushed him in there. And he had that feud with The Undertaker. And that night of the, when they attacked The Undertaker, and he used piano wire to choke The Undertaker out and put him in camp clutch. And they had all like his terrorist group that came in there with the guys with the hoods over and was attacking The Undertaker. And then it looked like a terrorist attack on The Undertaker on WTV. And then the bombings was taking place, and they was like, nope, you know what? This character got to go. And Undertaker literally killed his character off TV. He last rided him through the stage, and we have never seen Muhammad Hassan again. Like, we have not. I have been looking for him, and it's like, if I was to go outside right now and Muhammad Hassan was to walk past me, I would not know who he is. I have not seen Muhammad Hassan other than in pictures from 2005 since 2005. Like I said, that is over 15 years. No, shit, that's 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Now, granted, I know there's a new wrestling game that's coming out where Muhammad Hassan is going to be in there, but I ain't seen him since. So, Prime, when he was telling me that, he was like, they're running out of ideas. And I'm like, I don't think they're running out of ideas. But because as of right now, from these episodes, I'm into the chaos. I think the issue with this is I don't think Prime knows a lot about these people. You know, say especially when it comes to like Ludwig Borgia, which sounds like it's gonna be a crazy ass episode. Billy Jack Haynes and House of Eddie Gilbert. You know, and he don't care about Superstar Billy Graham like in the original Sheik. Like those things don't attract him, and I get where he's coming from. But I also just like, you know, there are some other stories I'm surprised he haven't dealt with, like, you know, the whole Arn Anderson Sid Vicious scissors incident, the whole racist lawsuit that WCW had in the late 90s is the reason why they put the title on Booker T in the first place. You know, those kind of things. And especially, I know there's more racist stories in wrestling. It's wrestling. So, you know, I wonder, like, well, maybe we talk about them a little bit also. Or sex with, like, Ashley Mazzaro. I'm surprised that we ain't get to that story yet. Ashley was maybe season 7, but Ashley Mazzaro, yeah, those stories is stories that I'm like, okay, these people want to tell their stories. And then that's why it's called the dark side of the ring. You know, it ain't meant to be all sunshine and rainbows. It's shit that happened that we got to address and we got to try to fix. But yeah, season 6 looks to be solid. It's coming. It starts March 25th at 10 p.m. So I'm going to tune into that. Me and I'm going to tune into that because we end up really enjoying Dark Side of the Ring, and I love that they be putting on Hulu now as well.